Welcome to TaNaCh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live out of Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, the Twisted New Testament, with Rabbi Stuart Federow, who has two books now: The Real Reasons Why Jews Don't Believe in Jesus and Judaism and Christianity, a Contrast. Welcome back, Rabbi. Sit tight 1 second. Get the callers coming in now. Lisa, sit tight. I'll be back with you soon. Don't hang up. I've got another caller online. Sit tight. All right, let's get back here. Okay, here we go. Let me make sure. Oh, look, those books look great. And we'll do this right here, too. We'll give you this one in the studio. We finally have our own copy. Yay. This bookmark is not mine. That bookmark is my wife's. We got this book a couple days ago. She's going through it. She loves it. Just starting chapter 2. And we've done chapter 4 and chapter 6, I believe it is. Kind of like a read-through method on the last couple shows. If you missed it, you'll want to go back and check them out, because if you like the content of those two shows, you definitely want to get this book. No doubt about it. And Rabbi, how are you doing tonight?
Been a long few days.
You going to make it for tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I'm not happy that Mike Huckabee is now the American ambassador to the state of Israel, and he is a great supporter of missionaries to the Jews in Israel.
Well, for the sake of this show, we don't want to get into politics. Just saying.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Not that I don't agree or do agree. I just, I don't do politics on the show.
I'm just talking about Mike Huckabee.
Yeah. I do not do politics, Go Trump, at all. You heard that? Just kidding. Okay. All right. Well, that was fun for a moment. But we're going to go ahead and move right into why did I do that? Hold on a second. So let's take this. The caller is on air right now. Let me pause the music so it doesn't bleed through. And active caller online. Caller, you are live on the air. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from. I think it's Hanny, right?
Yes, Hanny. I'm calling from Canada.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I grew up in the church for a long time, and I was very involved in Sunday school, teacher, and all that good stuff. And as I was leaving Christianity, I had a series of debates with some of my Christian friends, and some of them are really involved into the religion. So one debate especially was about the Sabbath and why did it get changed from Saturday to Sunday. And the answer I got was so strange. It's like, oh, because Jesus is our rest. I was like, how do you understand this? It's like, says the Sabbath day is for you to rest and from all your work. So where does this come from? And why do they spiritualize everything? Like, where does this come from? And how can that be a basis of religion? So all my debates with this guy went nowhere, and we had to stop talking, unfortunately, because Jesus is very tolerant and accepting, and he stopped talking to me. But anyway, how does that make any sense? Why is everything so spiritualized, and where does it come from? And how can you justify that, oh, Jesus is our rest? Where do you get this from? And how do you base your religion on something like that? It's so outlandish to me.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, cool. So, Henny, go ahead and hang up now and tune in for your answer. Thank you for your call. Really appreciate it. Okay, thanks.
Bye.
All right, Rabbi, let's discuss that.
Well, I think it speaks to this early split between Jews and Christians. I think it has to do with a number of things. First of all, where did the disciples of Jesus go in order to make converts to their new religion? They went to the Mediterranean. Okay, all through the Mediterranean, they went to the port cities. People come in, people go out. It's high access to people if you go to a port city. The majority of people that they're going to win over are not going to be the Jews. Remember, the book of Acts speaks of a few places that they went to preach in the synagogues and basically got kicked out. So not very well accepted. So they're going to be mostly accepted by the Gentile community, probably because the Gentile community had heard the stories. Nothing was new. Zeus making a human woman pregnant happens all the time. what's his name, Perseus, whose mother was the human woman Danae, and whose father was Zeus, without the act of sex, like a virgin birth, making Danae pregnant with Perseus. Common story. So in order to greater appeal to the Gentile community to become members of this new religion, who has the clever idea to be able to trace its existence back to creation because they attach themselves to the Hebrew scriptures and they go back to Genesis, they're going to balk at not being able to do whatever they wanted to do on one day a week. So you have a slow transition. I don't know how slow it was, but you have a transition between Saturday, the day of rest, and Sunday, the Lord's Day. In the very beginning of the Roman Catholic Church, which was the form of Christianity for so long, till the splits with Greek Orthodox and Russian Orthodox, which I'm not sure I understand the history of that, so don't go by me. But in the earliest days of Roman Catholicism, they did not call Sunday the Sabbath. If I remember correctly, the whole concept of calling Sunday the Sabbath was more of a Protestant thing 1,000+ years later, after Catholicism. The Protestant church is like the late 1400s or 1500s, 14 or 1500s. And it really wasn't important to observe the Sabbath. First of all, the Sabbath was never commanded of Gentiles. And they may want to read themselves into the Hebrew scriptures and say, well, they're the new Jerusalem, they're the new covenant with them instead of the Jews. And, they may talk about being grafted in, but anybody who picks up the TaNaCh and actually reads it, the people being commanded to keep the Sabbath are the Jewish community. 10 Commandments, first commandment. Or if you want to be Protestant or Catholic about it, the preamble to the 10 Commandments brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Gentiles were not in bondage to Egypt. They were not brought out of the house of bondage. The whole thing is towards the Jews. But with the throwing off of the Sabbath and the Catholic Church calling Sunday the Lord's Day, the day of the Lord, why? Because, Jesus was resurrected on Sunday. He appeared to whoever it was he supposedly appeared to on Sunday. And the importance of Sunday became greater importance than Saturday the Sabbath, because the people observing the Sabbath were the Jews, and they were less and less and less a part of the Christian community. And so you had the Sunday take precedence over the Saturday, the Lord's Day taking precedence over the Jewish Sabbath, and over time, the day of rest became the Lord's Day, and then it's not that much of a quantum leap to start calling it the Sabbath, even though in Roman Catholicism the Sabbath was nothing but Saturday. It just was no longer important for them to keep. So, and again, it was, in my opinion, mainly a Protestant thing to call Sunday the Sabbath as opposed to Saturday the Sabbath, because Sunday is when they were doing all the Sabbath things like not working and resting and all that stuff. If you've never seen Chariots of Fire about the Olympics of 1920 something, I think, it's a story of a Christian Sabbath keeper who wouldn't do the Olympics on Saturday, and he's Protestant. He's not Catholic. So at any rate, that's how it became called Sabbath. But it really never was the Sabbath. Saturday was the Sabbath, but it lost its significance, and Sunday, the Lord's Day, began to take precedence, and then eventually began to be called the Sabbath. But that's pretty much my answer.
Okay. Oh man, if you guys were only a fly on the wall in here, sometimes that's just awesome. Okay, let's get our next caller. Okay, Lisa, you are live on the air. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, Rabbi. Hi, William. So
Hi.
my question is, I think it's John 3:14, says, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. And that's referring to, when God made this plague among the Israelites, they bit the Israelites, and God told Moses to make a bronze serpent, and the Israelites would look and be healed. But, okay, so my question is, wouldn't that analogy just refer to the people, to as long as Jesus was on the cross, unless I'm missing something?
That's an interesting point. So with the serpent, they were only healed if they were looking at that serpent, right?
And as long as it was up on the pole.
Yeah, as long as it's up on the pole, right? And so if that was like Jesus, then is that saying that Jesus can only heal while people are looking at him while he's on the cross and while he's on the pole? That's an interesting question. Yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at that. Rabbi, you want to comment on it?
Just to say that it's a really bad analogy. I mean,
the snake on the pole, or
the snake on the pole.
Oh.
I mean, so they liken Jesus to a snake.
Lisa, go ahead and hang up now and tune in for your answer. Okay, thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I mean, it just seems to me that Jesus can be anything and everything to anybody, anytime, anywhere. All you have to do is interpret it to be that way. So a snake on a pole, have you ever seen the caduceus, the medical symbol of a snake on a pole? Okay, you've got snakes being symbolic of medicine going back to Egypt. You've got, I mean, it's not a quantum leap to see how a snake can be medicinal. You've got venom and what a snake bite does to a person and stuff like that. So anything can be used as an analogy if you're willing to make the quantum leap of the analogy. So it's have you ever seen in movies there'll be a pair of tennis shoes that are thrown up on a wire?
Yeah, isn't that like a marker for a drug dealing neighborhood?
Like a what?
That's like a marker for people who deal drugs in the neighborhood. It's like a sign,
It could be, but maybe that's a symbol of Jesus up on a cross because the shoes are hanging on the wire.
Right.
I mean, anything can be a quantum leap. So, she's right. If you have to look at the snake on the pole. Okay, does that mean Jesus has to be on the pole? And they're missing the point. The point is that God is the one who provided the snake on the pole. They may be looking at the pole, but they're thinking about God giving them life. So, you can stretch any kind of analogy so far and make it work, make it stick. I just think that that's a pretty weak argument, but okay, anybody's free to take any verse they want to, interpret it any way they want to. And all we can say is we disagree with their analogy. On the other hand, if a verse in the Hebrew scriptures says something that's to the opposite of their interpretation, then we have to reject their interpretation. Like, I don't know, nobody else can be a ransom for someone else's sin. Psalm or Proverbs 49. All of a sudden, I can't remember. It always goes back to the same thing. Deuteronomy 24:16. No man should be put to death for someone else's sin. Each man is put to death for his own sin. So if they want to take a look at, the brazen serpent and say, "Oh, that's Jesus," go ahead, but you're still contradicting the basic elements of biblical verses. So,
About what my wife had mentioned about in the New Testament, where the angel that informed Mary that she was going to have a child was Gabriel. But yeah, but
that was a pretty good
Gabriel's like
insight,
the
by the
warring
way, that
angel.
Chrissy had.
Huh?
That's a very good insight that Chrissy had.
Yeah. So now, granted, like you mentioned before, a lot of it, the learning of which angel does what is in the Midrash, but still Christians are aware of many of these because they will say, I don't want to say it, but it's Jeho blank A, Rapha, right? Like, right. And because Rapha is Raphael, the healing angel, right? So Raphael is the healing angel. Michael, in his tasks was like just a messenger angel to deliver good news, right? And you had, what was the other one? Gabriel.
Raphael, Gabriel, and Michael.
Yeah, and Gabriel was like the warring angel, the one who was dealt with battle and things like that. He's the strength,
which would match his name,
right? Yeah, absolutely. And so why would it be that Gabriel would be the one to deliver the message? The Midrash says that Michael was the one that delivered the message to Sarah that she was going to have a baby. So why wouldn't Michael have been the one to deliver that message? Right?
I actually have a reason for that.
Tell me, please do tell.
Sorry. I can never keep a straight face. I'm very bad at poker. Because Mary, when the message was being delivered, was bullied into accepting it. And you'd want a big, burly guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger to do the delivery of the message to make sure she complied. You're going to be
Get to the chopper.
Yeah.
That's just too funny. Wow. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to take this next caller. Here we go.
Wait, before you do,
yes, sir.
Just one line. Vicky Neely. Oh wait, I don't have the timestamp. Vicky Neely says that she feels behind the 8 ball in terms of knowledge. I got news for you. Even the Lubavitcher Rebbe studied. We're all behind the 8 ball regarding knowledge. We're all constantly, consistently, continually studying.
I don't think anybody's met Vicky yet here, but they will because she's a good friend of mine. She lives right about an hour away from here, and she's kind of freshly out, also. But she's in a relationship where that's not agreed upon. So our prayers go with her for
it's
favor,
tough,
So, okay, so here we go. Let's go with our caller. This is a good friend also. We've never met in person, but one day, hopefully, we certainly will. Mr. Stephen Roth, please introduce yourself to the crowd. Good to see you back again.
Hi, this is Steve. How are you, everybody? I had an epiphany. It's kind of funny. I'm sitting here learning the oral Torah. It's just a very good thing to do at night. And I came to the realization, I used to do a lot of missionary, debates and whatnot. I really believe that most people out there, and I think a lot of Jews themselves as well, really don't think about what they read. I think a lot of it has to do with the way that they're brought up. And I think that the minute you start reading things, in context obviously, and you're allowed to ask questions, you will be blown away. And this is something that strikes me. And this is not even the fact that, by Mount Sinai, there is no message of Jesus second coming and all that. Forget about that. That's a big, big black eye. If you look at the book of Matthew, because I like bringing proofs from the New Testament, not from the Old Testament. Matthew, the Sermon on the Mount, I honestly think a Pharisee wrote it. If you look at the fulfillment of the law, do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Everything is accomplished. According to Christianity, you can't accomplish the commandments. They're not accomplishable. That's a word even. Therefore, anybody who sets aside one of the least of these commandments and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commandments will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Did Paul have a senior moment? Did he have a Joe Biden moment and forget about what was written here in Matthew? Matthew's telling you, and this is presumably Jesus speaking in the Sermon on the Mount, you have to keep the Torah. So if you have to keep the Torah, then you have to eat gefilte fish on Shabbos, and you have to keep Shabbos, and you have to wear tefillin, and you have to, I don't know, do everything else that Judaism requires. How could anybody who reads this come away thinking that the law has been abrogated? It's just baffling to me, and I'm not trying to denigrate everyone. I respect everyone, and you can believe in whatever you want to believe. But when you see a passage like this should send shivers down your spine. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Am I barking up the wrong tree here?
Not at all.
I don't know.
No, not at all.
I don't know. I'm not trying to make any trouble here. How are you? I'm just being absolutely a purist here. I'm sitting here learning Mishnayos, and I saw your feed pop up, and I said, you know what? I've got to ask this question because it's been on my mind. And you know what? If I had a passage in the Torah that said you don't have to keep Shabbos, it would bother me. It would greatly bother me. And I just look at everything in the Torah. It says, L'doro Sechem, for your generations. Do it for generations. Was God kidding? Was he playing theological peekaboo with us? Like, what is going on? I don't know. I'm just asking respectfully. I'm not trying to, if anybody out there's getting insulted, please, I have no malice in me. I just truly, I mean it from the depth of my heart. I want to understand how you could read Matthew and still believe in the rest of the stuff. I don't get it.
I feel you, brother.
That's my question.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you, man. Hey, send me some pictures. I want to see more pictures.
Yeah, you'll get some more bass pictures. You got it, buddy.
Okay,
thanks a lot.
Love you, man. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Sure, bye-bye.
That's Steven. He's awesome. I love that dude. Okay, so here you go. I'm going to add to it. Before you start answering, I'm going to add to it. Not add to the answer, but add to the conflict. Okay.
Yeah.
First, let me find the verse it's in. There's a verse in the New Testament that said the Bereans were like studious and they studied the scriptures night and day to make sure that what they were hearing was true. Where is that? I thought it was in Acts, but I don't think it is. But the point is, it says they studied the scriptures. Well, to them, they didn't have a New Testament. So the only thing they could have been referring to would be TaNaCh, the what Christians call the Old Testament. And so how can they study the Old Testament, if you will, and study it to see if what's happening in their time is true going on and totally miss it to where they would accept Christianity? That's interesting. Oh, yeah, here we go. Acts 17:11. It was Acts 17. Okay.
Acts
says
17:11.
Here we go. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so.
So the word is not Bereans.
It's Berea.
The word is to Berea, who were called. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you don't type it right. Yeah, okay.
Please explain.
Okay. Sometimes belief is a matter of convenience. It is more convenient to believe that I don't have to keep the laws anymore, or I don't have to keep the laws to begin with since I'm not Jewish, or I don't have to keep the laws because Jesus did away with the law, or I don't have to keep the law because the law's purpose is only to tell me I'm a sinner, but I'm not a sinner anymore because I believe in Jesus. It's a very convenient thing. So it is a convenient thing to believe something, so you believe it because it makes life or whatever you're doing more convenient for you. So there's a psychological dynamic here too going on. So, and remember, the idea that Jesus did away with the law, even though Jesus said, the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, which means they have the authority. What they tell you to do, you have to do, even if they don't do it that way. Okay. Raising the admonishment of being hypocritical. Okay. But the idea remains that Jesus took away the law. That's Paul. Because then the Christian followers, the Gentile followers, the Jewish followers, they don't have to do it anymore. So it's very convenient to kind of ignore what the Bible says about the law. The law of the eternal is perfect, reviving the soul. The precepts of the eternal are right, delighting the mind. Psalm 119, Psalm 19, praising the law in contradiction. It's easier because they don't have to keep the law if they believe that it was done away with. So, for convenience sake, that's my answer, is that it was just the convenient thing to do.
Sure.
Why not?
I saw a YouTube video. Actually, I've seen numerous YouTube videos. And to me, this explains Christianity in our modern world perfectly. One of them was the simplest one that I saw was just today, actually. But it reminded me of a couple I've seen over the years. And it was just a silent video. And it showed like a camera at the top of, like inside an elevator, right? In the top center, right above the doors. And they showed in the middle of the floor, there was 4 like motorcycle helmets, right? And one guy that was in there the whole thing was staged, of course, but except for the one guy, the first guy who was on the elevator was kind of confused. Why is there helmets laying on the floor? And so he just stood back in the back corner and then went to another floor, and somebody got on, and the first thing they did was they reached down and picked up the helmet and they put it on. And it's like, and he stood over in the corner, and then went to another floor. Another person came on and did the same thing, picked up a helmet, put it on, stood over in the corner. And there's 4 helmets. A third person got it, got on, didn't look around, just reached down, picked up the helmet, put it on, and then stood in the corner. And by this time, there's 4 people on the elevator. And it's like the guy is looking in dismay, like, what is going on here? But instead of talking to him, asking him why or what, he reaches down and puts the helmet on himself. And now he's following protocol. And then they slowly get off, and he's like, and he walked out not knowing what happened. Another one was where they had people sitting in a waiting room, right? And they had every like, I don't know, a minute and a half, I think it was a beep would come over the intercom, like beep. And it was staged in the beginning with only like 3 people. But there was like 25, 30 people in the waiting room. And so the beep came up and the 3 people stood up, and then they sat back down, and they just kept reading. They didn't look at the other people in there to make them nervous. And so a couple minutes later, it beeped again. And while reading, they just stood up and sit back down. Before you know it, everybody else started following suit. And then after a little while, there's like, I don't know, 25, 30 people in the waiting room, and beep comes on. Everybody's standing up. When a beep comes on and sitting down, they show a new person coming in, and it's like sitting down, and they show the first time, like the beep happens and everybody stands up except for that one person, and then sits down, and then they wait and you watch them. And then the next time that person starts standing up and sitting down. And so there's like an endless cycle of people following things that they have no idea why they're following it, but they're doing it because that's what everybody else is doing. Right. And so for me, this is a huge point.
Example. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because so many people in Christianity are doing it. They have no idea what they're even following. They just know they were told one thing, and that's what they do. All right, we have another caller. Usually I screen them, but let's just take the call. If you have found this channel helpful and this has blessed you or your family members in helping bring you out of idolatry, I would love to have your support. Please consider donating to this channel directly. That would be pretty awesome. Donations can be done through PayPal, Patreon, or through snail mail. The links to all are added in the video description below. You can also click this link and it will take you straight to my website with a donate button, which leads you right through PayPal. Thank you once again for your kindness and consideration for supporting this work. Blessings for you, your family, and your home. Shalom. Caller, you're live on the air. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Drodovec.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I've been talking to a lot of people. I have one question. It's okay. How, if all the people in the Bible are in the Bible because God put His Holy Spirit into them to get them to write the Bible, how is Jesus in the Bible?
I like where you're going. I'm not sure I understand it though. Explain a little bit more.
Okay, so like Moses wrote the 5 first books of the Bible, and they say like Matthew or whatever, he was gifted by Holy Spirit to write the Bible, so he did, and Paul or whatever. So how is the New Testament the New Testament? I really just don't understand how, like Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe, we never talk about them, but we talk about Christianity. They say they're Christianity, but it's just like, I just can't figure this out.
Sure. So one thing, it sounds like you're kind of new to this exposure, which is good. But like, for example, the Gospels, they attribute titles to each letter, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but really that's not who they are. They just gave us like 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say they took the names away, because that was probably just as valid and just called it 1, 2, 3, 4. That would work exactly the same. Letter 1, they would know it was talking about Matthew. Matthew, there's no thing that said sincerely yours, Matthew, at the end, right? And so we don't even know who wrote the Gospels, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Rabbi,
but other people think, why do people think that they do? Like, they thought there was a real guy named Matthew.
Right.
And he wrote it.
Right.
So how do we even figure this out? Like, I thought they wrote scrolls just like the older, because everybody copies
Sure.
the Bible.
Right. Rabbi, would you like to comment?
And I do know that,
sorry.
names mean, I'm just saying one more thing.
Sure.
Like, names mean things. So, like, Matthew means gift of God. And,
well,
so I guess that's
Matthew is like
probably it.
Matthew, I guess I thought it meant hammer or something like that. Hey, do me a favor. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you.
What was the name of the caller?
Rabbi, 1 second. Hang on. Caller, sit tight. I'll be right back with you. Don't hang up. Okay, you're back on. Okay, so what was your name, caller? Sorry.
I'm Jeremy.
Jeremy. Thank you for calling. Where are you calling from, Jeremy?
I am in New Mexico.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Okay, Rabbi, ask him your questions.
Well, I was going to ask, what does the name Jeremy mean?
It can mean Jehovah exalts, or like Yahweh. Like, I don't even know. I know it's the Tetragrammaton, and like, I've called him Jehovah my whole life because that's what they taught us.
Sure.
And okay, so so.
See, the reason I ask you what your name is because they don't call you. No, I forgot what you just said. They don't call you Jehovah, whatever you said. They call you Jeremy. Your name is Jeremy.
Tell you your
Jeremy
actual
has a
name,
meaning.
not what your name means, right?
Right.
True.
So my name is Stuart. Okay, like stewardess on an airplane. They don't call them that anymore, flight attendant. But the point is that it's somebody who takes care of somebody else. Okay, but they don't say, "Hi, caretaker." They say, "Hi, Stuart," because my name is actually Stuart. Okay, so how these people got their names is because they were ascribed that by Christians. I would like to remind you that the stories of Jesus are not in the Bible. The stories of Jesus are in the Christian New Testament, which is not part of the Bible.
Right, that's true too. Yep.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was taught. That's what they teach.
But your question remains the same: is how does anything wind up in the Bible? And the answer is basically by agreement. Over time, nobody comes along and says, "Well, I don't know if the Book of Numbers should be in the Bible." This is what the Bible is. They are handed the Bible, okay, by people who agree that this is what the Bible is. It's the process of canonization. And what you're saying about the Christian New Testament, you could say about any part of the Bible. How did it get in there? And the answer is consensus.
Right.
Okay. There are books that were rejected from the Bible. The Apocrypha, which is like if you go to a Catholic Bible, it includes certain books, Tobit, Maccabees, whatever. Okay. And the Catholic community keeps them in the Bible, but the Jewish community says that's not part of the Bible. Why? Because they were not written in Hebrew, because they were about something that occurred later or much later than the first destruction of the temple. So they're kind of like out of date. They may have carried themes or ideas or theologies or what have you that were rejected. Okay, or they express a morality or an ethic that is rejected.
Can I just mention something?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the problem, I mean, I got on board with believing in God and Jesus because it seemed to make a lot of sense. Like, I believe in God because the earth, and I just believe in it. Now, with Jesus, I totally got him on board because I thought, he's the Son of God. So the only things that I think that are the problem, what some people talk about, is like how he says, hate your mom and dad. It kind of don't make sense a little bit.
Well, it actually doesn't, because actually the Torah or the whole entire the Hebrew Scriptures, what Christians call the Old Testament, teaches opposite of that. It says, when the Messiah comes, when it's the time for the Messiah and Messianic era, it says that it doesn't say that the parents and the children will be at odds with each other. Rabbi, you're more in line with talking about this. I'm glad you called, and I'm glad you're bringing these topics up. That's really, really good. So go ahead, Rabbi.
It's the very last paragraph of the book of Malachi, which when Christians reorder the Hebrew Scriptures to make it look like it flows right into the New Testament, they put the last paragraph of Malachi right before the book of Matthew. But it says there that the hearts of the children will be turned to the parents, the hearts of the parents will be turned to the children, or else God will come and smite the land with a curse. So,
and the biggest problem, honestly, is I didn't read the whole Bible yet, like the whole beginning.
Right. Yeah. What's interesting too is
I would urge you to read the Bible with commentary. Okay, to pick up the Bible cold and just read it.
Yeah.
Why not conclude that Mormonism is okay? You have to read the Bible from a specific perspective in order to really understand what the Bible's trying to say.
And I would say, to be further, I would say not just any commentary, but specifically Jewish commentary. Not Jewish Christian commentary, but Jewish commentary. Like, for example, a lot of scholars know this already, that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were not the first letters that existed in the canon. That's it. They just put them first, right? Paul's writings actually came first. Paul never knew of a virgin birth, right? So believing that Jesus was born of a virgin was so important. Why didn't Paul get the memo, right? So there's so many problems there. But you want to go in this thing. We already know what the Christian version of it is. What we got to find out is what the other interpretation is, so you can balance it out and weigh it out for yourself. If you only hear the Christian side of it, you won't have any way to weigh it out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, I've been studying the Bible and everything for like 4 years, I would think. Okay, so I thought when I found out that the Jewish people made a book called the Mishnah, they got a guy called Metatron. I thought Metatron would be, it says he's the lesser Yahweh, it seems like it would fit Jesus, because if he's Metatron and they call him Michael, which means who is like God. So if Jesus is like God and he's I don't know, it's weird.
I've not heard the Metatron thing at all.
I'd like to know where Metatron is mentioned in the Bible.
No, he didn't say the Bible. He said it was mentioned in the Mishnah. I don't know that either.
You need a lesson in what is Midrash. You need a lesson in Jewish commentaries.
Yeah.
You need a lesson in Hebrew, certainly. You're trying to study nuclear physics when you're barely doing math.
That's a really good point. Yeah. So you kind of have to take it in stages. So I would say I would say, like Rabbi is saying, start with the basics. Find out the chronological order of the Bible. Find out who wrote what, when they wrote what, who knew what, who didn't know what.
Well, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus.
What I mean is, like, more specifically now for you would be, are you still in the belief that Jesus is the Messiah? Are you struggling with it? What's your current position?
My situation is I want to be able to tell why I think that he's not, or I want to, if he is, then I will bow to him.
Yeah, that's smart. Very cool. Very cool. So start with those. Oh, that's a really good point. So Rabbi is holding up a book right now, The Real Reasons Why Jews Don't Believe in Jesus. That is a really thin, easy to read, and it literally discusses probably every question you have in your brain right now, and then some. It's going to give you
What is it called?
It's called The Real Reasons Why Jews Don't Believe in Jesus. You can actually get that on Amazon. You can also, Rabbi Singer has an amazing, like, more in-depth version. It's called Let's Get Biblical. You know, like that whole song, Let's Get Physical. Olivia Newton-John. There you go. Thank you for holding that up. So, Let's Get Biblical, 2-volume book set Rabbi Singer has. Very detailed. That's got so many. I used to, when I first came out of Christianity, for example, Jeremy, I was thinking there was only one or two problems, which made me kind of nervous about Christianity. And I was worried that if I turned my back on Jesus, I would be struggling with that forever. But what I found out was the more I studied it, nothing but problems kept arising one after another after another. And the biggest shocker that I ever had, thank you for holding both those volumes up, Rabbi. The biggest shocker that I ever had this is 10 years now I've had this channel, all right? 10 years I've been out of Christianity. The biggest shocker that I ever had was finding out that Jesus himself never fulfilled even a single prophecy, not even one single prophecy. He never fulfilled any of them. But Christians say,
and
well,
the other people would say he did.
They will say he fulfilled some of them, and
wrong.
he'll fulfill some when he comes back. That's what they say. But he didn't fulfill any. One Christian argued with me. He says, "Oh, sure, he fulfilled one. He was Jewish." Well, that's not a fulfillment citation. That's a qualification. That's totally different. So, you see what I'm saying? You got to find out.
Jeremy, by the way, my grandfather was the real Messiah, but you won't realize it till he comes back. But until then, you really should believe in my grandfather.
And you should trust Rabbi that he's telling you the truth. See what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Trust me that I'm telling you the truth. Yeah.
What happens if you have a contractor come to your house and he says, I will fix your house. Oh, by the way, your foundation is cracked and your septic needs to be replaced. But don't call anybody. Trust me, I'll take care of it for you. You're going to think the guy's a nut job. Why would you treat the Bible any different? Always get a second opinion. No one in Christianity ever. In fact, you're taught in Christianity, don't get a second opinion. Trust it. Don't watch this. Don't listen to these rabbis. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's so silly. Doesn't make any sense,
Well, the only reason I found out about these rabbis is because, I play the game Legend of Zelda, and it taught me about the Bible, or liking the Bible and liking the game got me to, have you ever heard the word Zel? Isn't that a Hebrew word for shade?
I don't know.
What is it?
Zel? Is that shade? How do you say shade in Hebrew?
Because Zelda, she got her name, I believe, from Zelda, and that's in Genesis, where Rachel died in her tomb, or where the tomb is.
You'd have to give me chapter and verse because I'm not sure what you're referring to. Zelda, and I can't hear you very well. Zelda?
No, it was actually off a video game, Zelda, right?
But the place in the Bible is Zelza.
Zelza. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Rachel's tomb is there. It's in between Bethlehem and Jerusalem.
Okay.
So I just, I enjoyed learning all this stuff.
Zelzach. Okay.
It taught me about the.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, you're right. So the word, it's Sil, TS, like Mitzrayim, Silzach, which means shade. Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. Wait.
Okay.
It's a T and a Z at the same time.
Yes. Cell.
Okay. It's cell, not Zell.
Right.
Okay. It's
an English translation, transliteration of it. So
like GETS, gets.
TS.
Cell.
Yeah.
TS or TZEL is the word you're looking for.
But it's an acceptable. It's an acceptable translation. It's an
Right.
acceptable translation to say Zell, as opposed, or like here is Zelah, but they're saying Zelda. So
I have no idea where they get Zelda from, but
it's okay.
As a matter of
the Zah is supposed to mean, because in Hebrew, I think the Zah means dazzling and sparkling or something like that, because the heat, shade from the heat of the sun.
Yeah, so
It just made sense.
Selsak means shade or shelter. So that's all I can give you on that. But more importantly for you, I would advise you in this case. And I know you were just telling us that that's what made you curious about it. So I'm glad that was that. I'm glad that did that. But now I would say on your current journey, I would say now go into finding as you research. Let me put it this way: when we buy things on Amazon, like when we buy things that we need, if we need a shade, I need a shade sail because I couldn't afford to put a carport up, so I was like, I need to buy a shade sail. So I went and looked up what the shade sails were on Amazon, but I didn't look at all the positive statements. I wanted to see what the negative statements were, because I wanted to find out, because usually you'll have fake people giving fake reviews. Oh, this is the best thing I've ever bought in my life. Right. But if you really want to know, go look at the negative reviews and find out what those say. So with your, and it's always saved us tons of grief with you. Don't look at the positive reviews of the New Testament. Look at the negative reviews of the New Testament and research those out. And that's when you're going to have your eyes opened up. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Yeah, because I don't get to talk to a lot of people. I just talk to the Christians I know.
Sure.
And that's all I got.
Well, if you ever want to contact me, come right ahead.
You know what? Here, let me put
All right,
this.
I appreciate it.
Let me put this on screen. Are you watching right now, or are you just listening?
I'm sorry.
I'm
as I always
basically
tell
just listening,
people,
but you guys are still up there.
Okay, so if you've got it on screen right now, you can go back and watch this video later because it'll probably be available on Thursday. But right now, I've got Rabbi Stuart's email address on screen, and I'm fixing to put mine. So you can go back and email either one of us and reach us and talk offline, off the air, privately if you want, to anytime you want. So there's Rabbi Stuart's, and here's mine. We'll kind of go with that. So
by the way,
okay.
Griselda.
Yeah, because I'd get my I talked to my dad about this. I talked to the guy who started teaching me about the Bible about you guys, and I'm just trying to figure it out.
So Rabbi was saying something about Griselda. Go ahead.
Well, the word Zelda comes from the old High German word Grieße Hilde, or whatever. Greece means gray and Hild means battle.
Interesting.
So Zelda might come from the Yiddish, which is German, which means blessed or happy. But there's no connection that I can find at all, very quickly at least, between Zelda and
I know where
Cell.
I'll tell you where to go. Abraham Accords, or no, it's the it's Abram.org or something. I got it. Hold on, let me look. I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Okay. Very good. So, okay, cool. And
it's Abram Publications.
Okay.
If you look that up, it'll have all these names. And
honestly, I don't think it's going to be imperative for our show because you were just telling us that that's what got you interested in Hebrew.
I have Abraham.com as a financial thing. Forbes, Success, Inc.
Rabbi, don't worry about it, because the reason why I say don't worry about it is because he was just telling us that's what as he was playing the Zelda game, that's what got him interested in researching it. So it's not really imperative to his faith.
Because the Bible's in the game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nobody cares but me.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I've been doing this for 4 years, and it's okay. So here's another thing. Since you guys are here, the last thing I guess. Because he uses a cross on a shield. All my life, they told me that Jesus died on a stake and not a cross. And I'm like, okay, that's the truth. You told me it's the truth. I believe that. So one day, I guess I found out that the cross is really like a 3D mathematical shape. So I'm like, that makes sense. If you guys use the Star David, the hexagon for, I heard about the legends of that. So...
Be careful what you hear. Be careful what you hear about the Star of David. Be careful what you hear about Judaism, about Jewish symbols, about Zelda, Tzell, Griselda, all of this stuff. Because, frankly, everybody wants to take Judaism and manipulate it and pervert it and abuse it for their own purposes to give themselves credibility.
So ultimately, in other words, Jeremy, what you use if you're really looking to find out resources that are specifically related to the Jewish Bible. I know that they probably do reference it in Zelda in the game and some other things, but you really want to go directly to the Jewish religious sources for those information if you want them accurately. That's kind of the point.
I wouldn't call the people who put together a computer game biblical scholars.
Right. So, Jeremy, I'm going to let you. I've got some other callers waiting to get in, and we've only got a few minutes left. But, man, I really appreciate your call. Send Rabbi an email. Send me an email. Oh, I forgot to take mine off screen. Well, good. You'll
all right, nice talking to you guys.
Hey, awesome. You too. Hey, thank you for your call. Take care, brother. Okay. Yep. Very good. All right. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, here we go. Okay. Caller, you're live on air. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. Tell us your name, where you're calling from.
I'm Andrew. I'm calling from Texas.
Andrew, what part of Texas are you from? That's where I'm at.
Yes, I can hear you very well. I just had to turn you guys off on the internet.
Oh, very good. Go ahead with your question.
Okay, one of the things that happens to Christian, I'm a Christian, and I'm trying to be as Torah observant as I can.
Okay, sure.
I know that's that might be an oxymoron in your program. But one of the things that discourages Christians from following the Torah is the verse in Isaiah 64:5, which says we've all been impure. The word is tuma, if I could understand it correctly. Isaiah 64, 5.
Okay, let me look it up real fast.
All our righteousness are a filthy rag.
What's the biblical reference?
Oh, Isaiah 64, 5.
But we are all like an unclean thing, which is the Hebrew word is tumah, and all our righteousness are like a filthy rag, like a menstrual cloth. But as far as I can understand, when you look at the context of it, it doesn't say that there's nothing that we can do to gain God's favor. The reason why we're impure is because we refuse to let go of our sins. And if we don't let go of our sins, there's nothing we can do that would even be acceptable, because we refuse to let go of our sins.
Okay, Andrew, give me 1 second. So, Rabbi, so basically, I would like, based on what I'm hearing right now, is for you to explain to me Isaiah 64 in the proper context.
64.
Yeah, Isaiah 64. Explain to us what that means. Our righteousness is like filthy rags in the context of the chapter. So, Andrew, I'm going to leave it right there because I know we can talk a lot, but that's ultimately where we're going. So I appreciate your call, and be sure to call back in anytime we have a live on-air show, because that's what this is for, to answer your questions. Rabbi?
All right. So, as I recall, Isaiah is talking about hypocrisy. He's talking about people who pretend to be righteous when they're not. He's talking about people who bring sacrifices while they sin or as sinners. So it's like, well, there's an analogy of going to the mikveh with pig between your teeth, trying to present yourself as pure, but you're still doing stuff that makes you, for lack of a better term, impure. And so he's speaking out against the hypocrisy of his day. That's what he's saying. That, how can we be righteous, bragging about how we're sinning, bragging about how we're good while we're sinning? Okay, Isaiah is heavily into supporting the orphan, the widow, the poor, and the stranger. And he's saying, you're not helping them. So that's what this is all about. He's not saying that anytime and every time we try to do anything of righteousness, we're actually just nothing but filthy. That's not what he's saying at all. What he's talking about is specifically the hypocrisy of his day. So let's see.
So while you look up what you're looking up now, I would like for you to keep in mind this was a Christian caller who's trying to be Torah observant, meaning that I'm guessing right away that his perspective is, because he's still Christian, that only Jesus could make you righteous. So
right.
If our righteousness, that we're obeying Torah, we're keeping our Torah, but that says our righteousness is like filthy rags, now he's following Jesus, and now that Jesus is making him righteous. How does that conflict with TaNaCh?
Enormously.
Okay, that's what I want to talk. Let's go there now.
I mean, actually, if you talk about 30 minutes ago, we were just talking about this, but one person's suffering does not take away another person's guilt. Deuteronomy 24:16, every man should put to death for his own sin. No one else can die for your sin. Moses comes down from the mountain, and the people of Israel are doing the sin of the golden calf, and Moses doesn't know what to do. He says, perhaps I can atone for your sin. And he goes to God and he says, forgive these people, if not punish me. And God says, sorry, that's not the way it works. The person who does the sin is the person who gets the punishment. Ezekiel 18, Ezekiel 18:20, the righteousness of the righteous is on the righteous, and the wickedness of the wicked is on the wicked. It doesn't say the wickedness of the wicked is on the righteous. It says the wickedness of the wicked is on the wicked. So, I always forget if it's Proverbs or Psalms 49, I believe. No man can be a ransom for someone else's sin. Roughly, that's basically what it says. So when you're taking a look at 64:6, okay, it's not talking about anything that we do that's righteous is really worthless. then we should never do anything righteous. We should never even don't help the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. That's nothing but filthy rags. I mean, I find it to be disgusting to believe that a person shouldn't even do anything good because it's going to be worthless anyway. That's the basic element of Christian theology, that you are not capable of obtaining forgiveness for yourself. That's only from the grace of God, when the Bible is explicitly clear. Okay, it's by our act of repentance and praying and fasting and confession and repenting of our sins that we obtain for ourselves forgiveness. Take a look at the book of Jonah.
Yep, right. Yep.
So I don't...
I kind of wished I'd kept him on now that I'm thinking about it, but I didn't want to. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So
you can call back. Or
if you're still watching, I definitely would like you to call back Andrew from Texas again. Maybe not tonight. I mean, you could tonight. We're kind of running out of time. It's actually right about an hour now. And Rabbi, I know you said you didn't really want to go past an hour because you're not feeling.
If there's someone 100%. Else in line ready to call, we can take another call.
That's it. All the callers have come through already.
All right.
So, okay. Well, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Rabbi, I appreciate your time. Hold up your book one more time, please.
Okay.
Oh, I could do the same thing. We'll both hold up side by side. Here we go. Oh, yours has got better color. There we go. The real reasons. I like it. So you can see how it's an easy read, right? And just for grins, I don't know if you can see it from here on the print because it's too far away, but you can see the size of the print. It's really an easy read. It's good. So check it out. And also whatjewsbelieve.org. If you've not seen that website, go there. Lots of hyperlinks. Pretty much every question or topic on there is a hyperlink. Click on it, it takes you to where the answers are. Brilliant. It works as a like a cell phone app. So if you're interested in that, go there, save it as a bookmark on your phone or on your computer. It'll be really good for you. Rabbi, thank you for your time, and I hope you will be well and get plenty of rest. And I look forward to seeing you guys again sometime soon. Rabbi, you should have a great week.
See you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Take care, peace.
Hello, my dear friends.
Oh, by the way, stick around.
Hope this message finds you well. If you like the way this channel is going, and the channel has been a blessing.
1 second. I was going to say, don't hang up. Because this is a live show. Y'all don't hang up your computer yet, because after we do the official closing of the show and I play the exit video and all this other stuff, Rabbi and I will hang around for a few more minutes to discuss anything goes on in chat. Okay. And then if you're watching this live now and you're not a member, you won't be able to go back and replay this, but all the members of the channel will be able to have full access to every video immediately. There's no waiting time on anything. So, okay. So now, shalom, everybody. Y'all have a great night. But Rabbi, don't hang up.
Hello, my dear friends. Hope this message finds you well. If you like the way this channel is going, and the channel has been a blessing to you, please consider supporting the channel by going to the website, TaNaChTalk.com. TaNachTalk.com. Thank you once again for your time and for supporting TaNaCh Talk. Shalom.